Hello, this is Gavin Palmer with Hero Looking for Group. I may need to change the name to Secretary Looking for Group. That's me just trying to be funny. I'm coming to you from the Porcelain Throne Room. The reason I say Secretary Looking for Group is because there's a HR problem in the world, and we need some secretaries and librarians. Those are some roles that we need. We need to figure out how to play those roles as good as possible, and will help. It should help us organize. But yeah, the claim would be is that nobody. Yeah, the claim would be that people are not organizing effectively. They're not organizing people effectively, and they're not organizing information effectively. So that's kind of an important task, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are doing it well in the world because it is a problem that people have solved. But somehow we need to learn from those people and try to figure out some of those problems related to organizing people and information. We sort out not just ourselves, but the organization. So paths forward, creating opportunities for other people to teach you. I've got a Discord server. It will be linked in the description, and I am fallible. I make mistakes, and I encourage you to welcome criticism, and I mean really do it. Like, people, you know that you will make mistakes, and invite other people to help you recognize those mistakes. All right. So there was a Discord meeting I went to yesterday around David Chapman, developing ethical and social cognitive competence, where he talks about Robert Kegan's model for developmental psychology. And that's, I think, the most important, the signal that I kind of identified was that there are people who, let me click on this. So there are people, so supposedly there is this thing called the meaning crisis, and many people are nihilists. Who knew? What does that even mean? Maybe I can help. So the reason this hasn't necessarily occurred to me is because I don't know how often I've ever helped anybody kind of sorting themselves out. I've just been focused on sorting myself out. And at the bottom I have notes. I've spent decades working on this knowledge. I've been spending decades sorting myself out. And I just note that I spent hours thinking about the way I should share it with you. And if you think I have made mistakes, please get in touch. That's my notes. So just remember that. I've been working on this my entire life. And yeah, I may have made mistakes. And perhaps my path is not the ideal path. But maybe it is for some people. So our beliefs are important. The beliefs we have are important. They are the filters through which we see the world, and it has an impact on our minds and how we feel and how we act. And so a belief is a tool. It'd be nice if you could put the tool down and then try out another tool, pick it up, and then really imagine it like a sword. You want to feel the sword in your hand. You want to know, and you want to be able to do that with different tools, different swords, whatever. And you can try them out. So I've been doing that process. But I believe the hell you are in is an opportunity to develop your stack of skills and try to become an important part of the story by which hell is transformed into heaven. I tried to do this when I was in missile defense. I tried to imagine, how does the government and missile defense and my team within all of that behave in ways that can transform the whole thing? And I tried to imagine how to do that. And then when I tried to communicate with people, up through the, some people might call it a pyramid scheme, but that hierarchy of power, I was met with silence, and I ultimately kind of got out of it. And then I went to the total opposite extreme, which is what happens sometimes, is you go into you go in one place, you have a realization, and then you bounce to an opposite extreme. And that was, I tried to start my own business. That opportunity presented itself. And I'd love to tell you my story, but I've been honing in on kind of a good balance. Anyways, so that belief that you are going to help transform hell into heaven, I think that's a good belief. And this idea of stacking skills, I'd never heard of it until it was mentioned by Scott Adams. Scott Adams says he's not very funny, he's not a very good artist, he's not very good at anything. He's not great at anything, but he's good at 4 or 5 things, which when you combine them, it ends up making him quite unique, interesting, and providing something of value to others. So stacking skills is really important. And you can do that even when you're in hell. So no matter what your hell is, you can try to do your stacking of skills such that you can help transform hell into heaven. So that's one belief. And then the second belief is, I believe the smallest changes done with the right spirit can have the biggest impact as the chain of events ripple through space-time. And I would say the right spirit has something to do with the Holy Spirit, something to do with the spirit that's pointed to by Christianity and Jesus and Christ, the Holy Spirit. And I think that Holy Spirit existed before Jesus. But yeah, I believe that the smallest changes done with the right spirit can have the biggest impact. What that means is this video could shape someone's life who is going to have a big impact. Or maybe they do something small that shapes someone else's life that's going to have a big impact. And that's my belief. And it is an empowering belief that gives you hope. It's good. I think it's a good belief. So the Holy Spirits, these are kind of the spirits I've tasted. I picked them up off the ground and tried them out. And part of the reason I did that is because of a warrior spirit. So I was kind of raised, I just happened into a home that where I was raised by a father who was possessed by the warrior spirit, or possessed the warrior spirit intentionally. The warrior spirit thrives in the midst of pain, suffering, and death. So my father, his mother died when he was young. My mother died when I was 2. The warrior spirit makes use of anything and everything. A belief is a tool. You can pick it up, you can use it. The warrior spirit has no master, but seeks the teacher in anything and everything. And so I learn from my children. I learn from the leaf. I learn from the plant. I learn from the experience I have while I'm consuming the plant or after I've consumed the plant. I learn from the air I breathe. I learn from the people I come into contact with. I learn from the feelings that emerge within me. And there is no authority that I serve. I don't serve any authority. I pick and choose the tools that I want. So the Christian spirit seeks cooperation. So this was my family. So my mom died when I was 2, and then there were family and friends with their parents and teachers and coaches. There is this spirit of cooperation throughout my life that shaped me, and I think it was very important. And if you live a life that somehow is missing that Christian spirit of cooperation and compassion, then it's a very dangerous situation to be in. So the Christian spirit sees the darkness as an opportunity for the light to shine. So that's this belief up here, right? The smallest changes done with the right spirit can have the biggest impact. So that's the light and the darkness. Those are connected. Okay? And the Buddhist spirit allows you to retreat into an empty state of mind that is without attachments. The Buddhist spirit is the ideal state of mind by which you can listen and speak with other people so that your bias doesn't get in the way of learning. This is very useful. Very useful. So those are the 3 spirits. There's other things that are valuable outside of these spirits. Like, I've learned a little bit more about rationality recently, and it's useful. But these spirits are important. And, underneath these spirits is a learning spirit, a spirit of curiosity. Maybe I should have added it. But empiricism is not science. So you can try out these spirits yourself, and I invite you to do so with caution. As you practice living with the spirit, you can observe what happens within yourself and the people around you. But be careful. Be careful. Use caution. The warrior spirit alone can result in causing harm to yourself and others. This is Miyamoto Musashi causing harm to people and killing people. At a young age, that spirit is dangerous and it can cause harm. And he was very skilled, and I don't know how much harm he caused to himself, like physically. But there's a lot of people who have that warrior spirit who just end up dying. So you can harm yourself and others if you have that spirit, so be careful. I don't think that's a good spirit to just have by itself. And if you can make it, like me, I feel like I was lucky. I almost died a few times, more than a few times. The Christian spirit alone can result in causing harm to yourself. So this is the story of being nailed on a cross and actually carrying your cross. Like, I don't think that's a great idea. Now, I think you are valuable, and hopefully you are more valuable alive than you are a martyr. Like, being a martyr would not be the best case scenario, in my opinion. But that's the hazard or the danger or the risk of the Christian spirit. I kind of wrote something about the Christian spirit that, if you just go around giving away all your stuff and not having any plans, it's like you could end up homeless on the street. Like, it's dangerous. The Buddhist spirit alone can result in you becoming peacefully insignificant. Now, I know there are Buddhists who are not insignificant, and there are teachers, but I think that this is the risk, is that you become peacefully insignificant as you kind of remove attachments. And that might even be that might be the beginning and the end state. So it's a good beginning state by which you can learn and you can retreat to, but it might also be the end state by which the warrior needs to become the Buddhist once there is, heaven. But I don't know if heaven will ever become, it will be real on earth. So I'm not sure that there is ever a time where you should just become peacefully insignificant. Maybe there is. Maybe it's just not where I'm at on my path. So maybe in the future I become peacefully insignificant. But maybe I would want a good death. So, this experiment you could run is not science because the variables are different for each person. There is no control, and the experiment is not exactly repeatable, but you can still do the experiment and observe the results for yourself. So this is my attempt to try to help some of the people who, I guess, are suffering from the meaning crisis, who are nihilists. I would say, just mention and throw it out there, maybe hedonism is also a form of nihilism, where you kind of retreat into mind-altering substances used for recreation, and recreation in general, that hedonism of immediate gratification and recreation. It might be a place for the nihilist to go, where it's ultimately not a satisfying experience. So I think I would kind of lump them together. And perhaps these beliefs may be of service to you. You can try them out. You can try connecting with some spirits. See how they have an impact in your life. All right. I appreciate your attention, and connect with me if I am making mistakes. This is Gavin Palmer with Hero Looking for Group.